The grand chamber of the Galactic Council glittered with light. Hundreds of alien delegates sat in their high seats, their bodies shining, twitching, or glowing according to their species. The air was heavy with noise, pride, and arrogance. Today was not an ordinary meeting. Today a human stood before them. Ambassador Marcus Hale, dressed in a plain black suit, carried no weapon, no shield. His voice was calm as he spoke. Humanity asks only for peace. We ask for trade, for understanding, for respect. We have shed much blood in our history, but we choose a different path now. Some aliens listened in silence. Others smirked. The Saracen delegate with his glittering scales hissed loudly. Peace? Respect? Humans are violent by nature. You wish to hide your claws, but we see them. Laughter rippled across the chamber. The ambassador did not respond. He bowed his head slightly and continued. We have fought wars, yes. But so have you. Yet we are here, not with fleets but with words. That is the measure of our choice. For a moment the hall quieted. Some eyes softened. Perhaps humanity could belong among the stars after all. Then it happened. From the upper balconies, a flash of light tore through the chamber. A weapon discharged. The sound echoed like thunder. Ambassador Marcus staggered, his chest burning with fire. For a heartbeat, silence ruled. His eyes widened, his lips moved as if to speak, but no words came. Then he fell, his body striking the polished floor with a hollow thud. Chaos erupted. Alien guards rushed forward, some shouting in confusion, others pretending to search for the shooter. The assassin was never seen clearly. A shadow in the chaos, gone before anyone could react. On the council floor, some delegates gasped in shock. Others hissed in cruel laughter. The Saracen delegate bared his fangs. So fragile, even their voice cannot survive among us. The Veyari, glowing softly in their gaseous forms, rippled with mocking amusement. Perhaps peace was too heavy a word for their thin blood. The laughter grew louder, cruel and sharp, filling the chamber while the human body lay still on the floor. But not all were laughing. The Kelnari archivist rose slowly, his ancient eyes fixed on the fallen man. His voice trembled. Fools, do you not understand what has been done? To strike down a human ambassador is to light fire to dry wood. Their silence will not mean surrender. It will mean vengeance. His warning was drowned by more jeers. Guards finally lifted the ambassador's body and carried him out. No human ships fired, no fleets appeared, no threats came. Earth did not send a message, only silence. That silence spread quickly. Across the galaxy, humans withdrew from council worlds. Embassies closed their doors. Colonies went dark, refusing to answer alien signals. Some aliens celebrated. See? They hide. They are afraid. Others joined in the laughter. The humans have no courage. One death broke them. But in the quiet corners of the stars, whispers began. Traders who dealt with humans noticed their fleets were vanishing, not scattered but moving with purpose. Scientists who once visited Earth reported they could no longer reach its orbit. Even smugglers, bold and fearless, warned one another, stay away from human space. On Earth, millions stood in silence as the ambassador's body was laid to rest. No cheers, no speeches, only a promise whispered from soldier to worker, from mother to child. We will not forget. We will not forgive. Back in the council, the Saracen delegate laughed again, his voice echoing through the halls. Humans are finished. Too weak to fight, too soft to rule. The galaxy will not hear of them again. But far away in the black void between the stars, human fleets were already stirring. Engines burned quietly. Hidden forges came alive. Weapons long prepared in secret began to wake. The ambassador's death was not an end. It was the beginning. The silent Earth. After the ambassador's death, the galaxy waited for Earth to scream. They expected threats, anger, maybe even war fleets rushing into council space. But no message came. No human voice rose in the council. No retaliation followed. Instead, Earth went silent. Within a week, every human embassy in alien space closed its doors. Diplomats boarded transports and returned home. Human colonies shut down their communications. The bright chatter of Earth's networks, once buzzing across trade channels, went dark. It was as if a veil had fallen across the entire species. First, the council laughed. The Serican delegate sneered, his scales flashing with smug delight. See? They hide in fear. They are too weak to face us. Their silence is surrender. Other delegates agreed. The Vayari pulsed faintly with mocking color. Perhaps they finally know their place. Perhaps humanity has accepted what we already knew, that they do not belong among the stars. Even the Zorn, with their four mouths snapping in harsh rhythm, joined the chorus. The humans retreat. Their blood was thin. One death was enough to break their spirit. But not all were convinced. The Kelnari archivist, old and cautious, sat in silence as others mocked. Finally he spoke, his voice heavy with warning. You misjudge them. Humanity does not weep in public. They do not beg. They grow quiet before the storm. Do not confuse silence with weakness. Few listened. Pride made the council blind. Meanwhile, strange reports began to spread. Traders who once carried goods to Earth returned empty-handed. They said the orbital docks were sealed, patrolled by human warships that refused all entry. No explanation given. Smugglers who dared to approach human colonies found warning beacons flashing. Do not enter. This space is closed. Those who ignored, the warnings never returned. Even pirates, bold and greedy, stopped raiding human lanes. Stories spread of entire crews vanishing, their ships reduced to drifting wrecks in the void. Survivors, when found, whispered the same words. Black ships came without sound, and then nothing. The galaxy dismissed these stories at first. Exaggerations, the Serican said. Smugglers and pirates invent ghost tales when they fail. But the rumors kept coming. In the human homeworld, Earth itself grew silent too. Its skies, once filled with civilian craft, now carried fleets of warships. Massive engines ignited as convoys departed in secret, heading toward unknown sectors of space. Satellite networks shifted their signals to encrypted codes, unreadable by alien ears. Factories ran day and night, their smoke rising into the atmosphere. Weapons production surged, though no announcements were made. Human workers did not complain. They did not ask why. They simply built. At the funeral of Ambassador Marcus Hale, millions stood in silence. No words, no speeches, just the long, low sound of a single bell echoing across the planet. That sound carried through every human colony, every settlement, every ship. It was not mourning. It was a promise. Aliens watching from afar mistook it for despair. See how they grieve, they mocked. They are broken already. But deep, inside the void, far from council eyes, the truth was very different. Human fleets were gathering in hidden zones. Engineers worked in forges carved into dead stars, welding steel into massive hulls. Scientists prepared weapons kept secret for decades. Soldiers trained not for defense, but for revenge. Humanity did not shout, because shouting was wasted breath. Humanity did not weep because tears could not bring back the dead. Humanity prepared, and so the galaxy laughed louder, believing the silence meant fear. They mistook the calm of Earth for weakness, but those who knew humanity's history whispered, in dread, when humans go quiet, the storm is near. The ambassador's blood had not ended the story. It had only written the first line, first signs of wrath. The galaxy thought Earth had gone into hiding. They believed humanity was caged in its silence, too broken to act. But then, small things began to happen. Things too sharp, too precise to ignore. It started with trade convoys. A Serican merchant fleet traveling near the outer lanes never arrived at its destination. When rescue crews finally reached the coordinates, they found nothing but wreckage. The ships had been torn apart with surgical precision. Not a single crate of cargo remained. The Serican government blamed pirates, but the patterns of destruction told another story. Pirates left chaos. This was clean, controlled. Weeks later, a Zorn supply convoy was found drifting, every ship dark. The crews were gone, vanished without a trace. No blood, no bodies, only silence. The ships themselves were untouched except for one thing. Burned into the hull of the lead vessel were 3 words in human standard. We remember this. Panic spread in whispers. The council tried to bury the reports, but smugglers and traders spread them faster than any official announcement. Soon, stories flew across every port. The humans were hunting again. Pirates who had once mocked humanity began refusing contracts near human space. One pirate captain told his crew, "I don't care if they pay in gold or plasma cores. No ship of mine sails near Earth. I'd rather starve than face those black ghosts." But the attacks did not stop. A Vayari fuel depot on the edge of neutral space suddenly lost power. Its defense grid collapsed, its stockpiles drained dry. Security cameras caught a single shadow passing through the void before going black. When investigators arrived, the depot was empty. All that remained was a single beacon left behind, flashing in human code. Not forgotten. The council gathered in secret to discuss these incidents. Delegates shouted, their voices filled with both fear and denial. "This is proof of human terrorism," hissed the Sarican delegate. "No," argued a Zorn representative, his mouth snapping nervously. "This is vengeance. We must stop them before they grow bolder." The Vayari pulsed angrily. "They cannot fight us all. They are too few, too weak." But the Kelnari archivist spoke again, his voice grave. "You said they were too weak before. You mocked their silence, and yet their shadow falls across your fleets already. Do you not see? This is only the beginning." Outside the chamber, ordinary people whispered in fear. Dock workers swore they saw human ships sliding through space like black blades, engines muted, weapons hidden until it was too late. Merchants claimed humans had maps of routes even smugglers did not know. Some even said the humans had weapons that could blind sensors, making fleets vanish without warning. No one knew which rumors were true, but the fear was real. On Earth, the silence continued. Factories still burned day and night. Forges still rang with steel. Fleets moved through hidden routes, far from alien eyes. But the people did not speak of vengeance loudly. They carried it quietly, in their hearts, in their work, in their training. In one hidden command room, deep beneath Earth's surface, military leaders stood around a glowing map of the galaxy. Red markers showed council strongholds. Yellow lights marked colonies that had mocked humanity the loudest after the ambassador's death. The commander's voice was steady. "Stage 1 is complete. They know we are watching. Now, we begin the real work." And in the darkness of space, a human fleet adjusted its course. Its engines lit like a predator's eyes in the night. The aliens had thought humanity broken. But now, for the first time since the ambassador's murder, the galaxy felt something it had not felt in years. Fear. The message delivered. The galaxy had grown uneasy. Convoys were vanishing, depots were stripped, and whispers of black ships spread like fire in the void. But still, the council clung to arrogance. They told themselves these were accidents, pirates, or tricks. Humanity was silent, they said. Humanity was afraid. That illusion ended on the world of Draxus Prime. Draxus Prime was not just any colony. It was a fortified council stronghold. Its skies glittered with defense grids. Fleets patrolled in tight formation, their engines burning, like stars. On the surface, towers of steel held stockpiles of weapons, enough to arm dozens of worlds. To the council, Draxus Prime was untouchable. On the night of the attack, its skies were calm. Patrols moved in routine arcs. Civilian districts glowed with life. Nothing suggested danger. Then the lights went out. Every grid, every tower, every beacon, all dead in a single instant. The world fell into darkness. Alarms screamed. But no, enemy appeared on sensors. Fleets scrambled in confusion, engines roaring as captains shouted orders. "Find them! Where are they?" Then the stars shifted. Out of the void, a black human warship slid into orbit. Its hull reflected no light. Its weapons glowed faintly, silent and patient. For a long moment, it did nothing. The Council fleet surrounded it, weapons charged. Yet before they could fire, every system froze. Engines cut out. Weapons went cold. Entire ships drifted powerless, trapped like insects in a web. A voice broke. The silence, it was human, calm, cold. Every frequency carried it, from military channels to civilian broadcasts. The people of Draxus Prime heard it. The Council delegates across the galaxy heard it. The voice of humanity filled the stars. "You killed one of ours. Our ambassador came with peace, and you answered with blood." The words echoed through the void. "You laughed at his death. You mocked our silence. But silence is not weakness, silence is preparation." On the surface of Draxus Prime, civilians trembled as screens across the city lit up with the same message. A single phrase burned in white letters: "We remember." Then the voice returned. "Know this, Earth does not forget. Earth does not forgive. From this day forward, every strike you make against us will be answered. Not with words, with fire." The message ended. The black ship powered its engines, and just as silently as it had come, it vanished back into the void. When the Council fleet finally regained power, the humans were gone. No shots had been fired. No lives had been taken. But the message was clear. Across the galaxy, fear spread like a storm. If humanity could shut down Draxus Prime, if they could silence one of the strongest Council worlds without firing a shot, then what else were they capable of? In the Council chambers, chaos followed. Delegates shouted, their voices breaking with fear. They dared to strike Draxus. They broadcast to every world. They humiliated us. "This is war." But not all shouted for vengeance. Some whispered for caution. The Vayari delegate, once mocking, now trembled with dim light. "If they can do this to Draxus, what chance do we have?" "What chance does anyone have?" The Sarican delegate hissed, his voice shrill. "We must crush them now before they rise further." The Kelnari archivist only shook his head. "You still do not understand. They have already risen. What you saw tonight was mercy. Next time it will be fire." And he was right. Because far away in the hidden forges of dead stars, humanity was building fleets larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Soldiers drilled in silence. Engineers carved weapons into steel hulls, and every one of them remembered the ambassador's death. The message had been delivered. The warning was clear. The storm was only beginning. The retaliation. The galaxy could no longer deny the truth. Humanity had spoken. The warning at Draxus Prime had spread across every world, carried by frightened voices and shaky recordings. Some still mocked, calling it a trick, a show of false power. But then came the retaliation, and no one laughed again. It began with the fuel world of Sarican Var. The planet's skies were covered with shield arrays. Its surface burned day and night with the glow of fuel harvesters, pumping plasma from the planet's core. For decades, Sarican fleets had ruled with that fuel. They thought themselves untouchable. At dawn, the shields collapsed. No one knew how. One moment the arrays glowed bright, the next, they were dead. Then the human ships came. Not hundreds, not even dozens. Only 3. 3 black warships, silent as the void, descended through the atmosphere. Their cannons flared once, twice, and every military base on the surface turned to fire. Refineries exploded in great towers of flame. Patrol fleets scrambled to intercept, but their engines cut out mid-flight, leaving them helpless as the humans fired again. In less than an hour, Sarican Var was ash and silence. The humans did not touch the civilian districts. They did not burn homes or slaughter innocents. They destroyed only the fuel depots and military stations. Then, as suddenly as they had come, they vanished back into the void. The message was clear. This was not chaos. This was judgment. Days later, the Council Fortress moon of Ivaris met the same fate. Its shipyards, proud for producing fleets for half the Council, went dark in a single night. Human ships emerged, weapons glowing like stars, and in minutes, the yards were gone, twisted steel drifting in the void. Again, no civilians harmed. Again, the humans left behind only silence. By the third strike, panic consumed the galaxy. Every stronghold that had mocked humanity after the ambassador's death now waited in dread. Colonies that once laughed at Earth began begging the Council for protection. But the Council could do nothing. Their fleets were too slow, their defenses too weak. Humanity struck where they wished, when they wished, and always left before anyone could react. Inside the Council chamber, the debates turned to shouting matches. "They are terrorists," the Sarican delegate howled, his scales dull with fear. "They are soldiers," corrected the Kelnari archivist, his voice heavy. "And they are delivering justice. They will destroy us all if we do nothing." The Vayari pulsed in panic. But no plan worked. Every attempt to track human fleets ended in wreckage. Every attempt to defend strongholds collapsed. Humanity's silence had ended. Now their vengeance was moving like a blade through the stars. On Earth, no speeches were made. No grand declarations filled the skies. Instead, workers built more ships. Engineers forged more weapons. Families whispered only one promise: for Marcus Hale, for every human dishonored, we will strike until they understand. In one hidden war room, commanders reviewed the strikes. 3 operations, all successful. 0 civilian casualties. "Good," the lead general replied. "Let the galaxy see the difference. They kill ambassadors in cold blood. We strike only soldiers. That is the weight of human justice." Meanwhile, across alien space, survivors spoke in hushed voices of what they had seen. They moved like shadows. Our ships died before we even saw them fire. They could have killed us all, but they didn't. They chose their targets, that is worse. They don't fight like us. They fight like predators. Rumors grew that the humans had fleets, hidden in every sector. Some claimed Earth had built weapons that could turn suns into bombs. Others whispered about invisible ships moving between stars. No one knew the truth. But everyone believed one thing. Humanity had changed the balance of power forever. The retaliation was not random. It was not blind. It was a message carved into the stars with fire and silence. The galaxy had killed Earth's ambassador. Now Earth was teaching the galaxy what that cost. Fear spreads across the stars. The retaliation changed everything. The Council had promised safety, but their fleets had burned, their fortresses had fallen, and their pride had been shattered. Humanity's black warships had come and gone like shadows, leaving behind only wreckage and fear, and that fear spread faster than any fleet. On border colonies, whispers grew. Merchants who once laughed at human traders now avoided Council patrols, saying quietly, "Better to deal with Earth than with those who cannot even defend themselves." Dock workers, miners, and farmers repeated the same words in taverns and marketplaces. The Council had failed, but the humans had shown power. In schools, alien children whispered ghost stories about the human ships. They said the black warships could see in the dark that their cannons never missed, that they hunted silently until it was too late. Some stories were lies, some wild exaggerations, but all of them carried fear. Even pirates, once fearless, abandoned roots near human space. "I would rather steal from the Sirican," one captain spat, "than cross paths with a human fleet." Inside the Council chambers, the fear was worse. Delegates who had once mocked Earth now shouted in panic. "Their strikes are spreading. They hit Sarican fuel worlds, they hit Ivaris shipyards. Where will they strike next? They are making us look weak. Colonies are doubting us. We must act before they tear the Council apart." But no one had answers. Every time the Council tried to gather fleets, humans struck somewhere else. Every time they prepared defenses, the attacks came from a different angle. Humanity was not chasing glory. They were cutting out the Council's strength, one strike at a time. The Sarican delegate, once loud with pride, now hissed in anger. "We should have crushed them when we had the chance." But the Kelnari archivist shook his head. "Crush them? You tried with fleets, with weapons, with arrogance, and now you see the truth. Humanity cannot be crushed. They endure, they wait, and when they strike, they do not waste their fire. The chamber grew silent at his words, because deep down, every delegate knew he was right. Meanwhile, smaller colonies began to act on their fear. Some stopped paying their council taxes. Others sent quiet messages into the void, hoping humans would hear. We will trade with you. We will follow your law, just do not strike us. The humans gave no reply. Their silence was worse than threats, because silence left the galaxy guessing. Was humanity preparing another attack? Or were they watching, waiting, deciding who would fall next? On Earth, the silence was steady. Cities glowed with factories working day and night. Shipyards launched new warships into the dark without fanfare. No celebrations, no speeches, only preparation. At the military command, officers reviewed intercepted alien broadcasts. The council is fracturing, one reported. Border worlds are begging for our protection, said another. Fear is spreading faster than our ships, added a third. The commander's face was hard, his voice cold. Good. Let fear work for us. The council took our ambassadors' life. We will not take their civilians, but their leaders, their fleets, their pride. We will strip it all. Across the stars, more and more voices questioned the council. On the world of Harius, a merchant shouted in the marketplace, "What good are they? They let humans burn fortresses and did nothing." On the mining moon of Velos, workers whispered, "Better to follow Earth's silence than the council's lies." And slowly, respect began to shift. The galaxy had mocked humans as fragile. Now they saw them as predators, silent, patient, unstoppable. In the void, human fleets gathered for the next step. Engines burned like faint stars. Weapons glowed in hidden bays. And every soldier, every worker, every leader carried the same memory, their ambassador's body lying cold on the council floor. Fear had spread across the stars. The galaxy now trembled at Earth's silence. And still, humanity had not yet shown its full strength. Shock and silence. The galaxy waited in fear. Every colony, every shipyard, every council world lived under the same question. Where will the humans strike next? Alien fleets patrolled nervously, their captains jumping at every shadow. Traders whispered of black warships moving unseen. Families looked at the night sky with dread, wondering if the next fire would fall on them. The council called an emergency assembly. Delegates shouted over one another, their voices filled with desperation. We must unite and crush them before they grow. Stronger. They are already stronger. We cannot stop them. Negotiate, beg for peace before they destroy us. The chamber shook with panic. The Sarican delegate hissed in anger, slamming his claws against the table. They are one species. We are hundreds. If we bow to them now, we are finished. But before the debate could continue, every screen in the chamber flickered. Every channel, every frequency, every comms tower across the galaxy went dark for a moment. Then a single image appeared, the Titan-class human flagship. Its black hull filled the screens, blotting out the stars. Weapons glowed faintly across its surface, silent but alive. And then a human voice carried into every ear, steady and cold. You killed our ambassador. You spilled blood where we came with peace. You laughed at his death. The words echoed across thousands of worlds. For that, we were silent. We prepared. We struck. Images filled the screens, burned fortresses, shattered fleets, smoking. Shipyards, the destruction was undeniable. We could have taken more. We could have burned your cities, ended your people. But we did not. We struck only where the guilty hid. Only where power mocked us. We are not conquerors. We are not tyrants. We are humanity. The chamber fell into silence. Even the proud, Sarican delegate lowered his head. The voice grew harder. Understand this. Earth will not bow. Earth will not kneel. From this day, if you touch one of ours again, if you spill even a drop of human blood, your fleets will fall and your strongholds will burn. We do not need to strike twice. The message ended. The Titan vanished back into the void, leaving the stars empty once more. For a long time, no one in the council chamber spoke. The silence was heavier than any battle. Outside, the galaxy trembled. Colonies once loyal to the council began turning away, whispering, "Better to respect Earth than to mock them." Traders quietly shifted their routes toward human fleets. Soldiers in council armies began asking themselves a dangerous question. Would I rather fight against humanity, or stand beside them? On Earth, factories continued to hum. Shipyards launched more vessels into the void. But there were no cheers, no parades. Humanity did not celebrate. Their vengeance was not for glory. It was for justice. In the hidden war rooms, commanders spoke quietly. The message has been delivered. The galaxy will not forget. Captain Reese Hale, watching the stars from his bridge, nodded once. His voice was calm. Good. Let them remember. Let them fear the silence before our strike. That is enough. And so the galaxy changed. The council was no longer the center of power. Its halls echoed with doubt, its leaders shaken. Every world remembered the ambassador's murder. Every world remembered the silence that followed. And every world remembered the retaliation that came like fire from the dark. Shock had silenced the galaxy, and in that silence humanity stood taller than ever before.